We should remain, then, within the limits imposed by our basic needs and strive with all our power not to exceed them. For once we are carried a little beyond these limits in our desire for the pleasures of this life, there is then no criterion by which to check our onward movement, since no bounds can be set to that which exceeds the necessary. Pointless effort and endless labor wasted on what is unnecessary only serve to increase our longing for it, adding more fuel to the flames. Once a man has passed beyond the limits of his natural needs, as he grows more materialistic, he wants to put jam on his bread, and to water he finds first the modicum of wine required for his health, and then the most expensive vintages. He does not rest content with essential clothing, but starts to purchase clothes made from brightly colored wool of the very best quality. Next, he demands clothes made from a mixture of linen and wool. Next, he searches for silken clothes, at first just for plain silk, and then for silk embroidered with scenes of battles and hunting and the like. He acquires vessels of silver and gold, not just for banqueting, but for animals to feed from, and for use as chamber pots. What need is there to say more about such absurd ostentation, extending as it does to the bestest needs, so that even chamber pots must be made of nothing less than silver? Such is the nature of sensual pleasure. It embraces even the lowliest things and leads us to invest the meanest of functions with material luxury. All this is contrary to nature, for the Creator has ordained the same natural way of life for both us and the animals. Behold, says God to man, I have given you every herb in the field to serve as food for you and for the beasts. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 through 30. Thus we have been given a common diet with the animals, but if we use our powers of invention to turn this into something extravagant, shall we rightly be judged more unintelligent than they? The animals remain within the boundaries of nature, not altering in any way what God has ordained. But we, who have been honored with the power of intelligence, have completely abandoned his original ordinance. Do animals demand a luxury diet? What chefs and pastry cooks pander to their bellies? Do they prefer the original simplicity, eating the herbs of the field, content with whatever is at hand, drinking water from springs, and this only infrequently? In this way they diminish sexual lust and do not inflame their desires with fatty foods. They become conscious of the difference between male and female only during the one season of the year ordained by the law of nature for them to mate in, so as to propagate and continue their species. The rest of the year they keep away from one another as if they had altogether forgotten any such appetite. In men, on the other hand, as a result of the richness of their food, an insatiable desire for sexual pleasure has grown up, producing in them frenzied appetites which never allow this passion to be still. Since then possessions are the cause of great harm, like a source of disease, they give rise to all the passions. We must eliminate this cause if we are really concerned for the well-being of our souls. Let us cure the passion of avarice through voluntary poverty. By embracing solitude, let us avoid meeting those who do us no good, for the company of frivolous people is harmful and undermines our state of peace. Just as those who live in an unhealthy climate are generally ill, so those who spend their time with worthless men share in their vices. What do those who have renounced the world still have in common with the world? In order to please the leader who has chosen him, the soldier going to war does not entangle himself in the affairs of this world. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4. Preoccupation with business hinders military training, and if we are untrained, how can we stand our ground when fighting against experienced troops? Rather, to tell the truth, we fight so half-heartedly that we do not withstand the enemy even when he is lying on the ground. We who stand upright are the prey of him who is fallen. We suffer the same miserable fate as those who, out of avarice, despoil corpses in wartime. After the battle has been won, they come up to someone who lies half dead and start searching his body. And then, taken unawares, they receive a mortal blow from him, foolishly bringing disgrace upon themselves after their glorious victory. In the same way, when we have overthrown the enemy through our self-controlled and restraint, or rather, when we think we have overthrown him, we become attracted by his clothes, that is, by the different things men prize: wealth, power, good looking, good living, fame. We approach our fallen enemy in our longing to take his things, and so we are killed, having led ourselves to the slaughter. That was how the 5 virgins came to grief. Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 13. Through their purity they had destroyed the enemy, but because of their hardness of heart, which is engendered by avarice, they drove the enemy's sword through their own bodies when he himself lay helpless.